Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this amazing town hall where we have some incredible announcements that we've all been waiting for, but we're going to start with an introduction from Adam Broadway. Over to Adam.
Okay, well, that was the most long-winded. Yours wasn't, yours was concise and fantastic, but Adam's and mine was pathetic, and Laura's was a little bit choppy. But thanks, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, or good night,
I think
wherever
you
you
said
are in the
she
world.
was flaky.
Oh, okay. The connection was. But what isn't flaky isn't so much internet connections today. What isn't flaky is the special guest, well, not a guest, he's a regular appearance on this town hall, but Shane McGeorge, all the way from Melbourne, Australia, my hometown. A lot of good things come out of Melbourne. And we're about to see not just good things, amazing things, open sourced things. So Shane, over to you. And we're very excited about what you've got to show us and take us through.
Cool. Thanks, Adam. Good morning, afternoon, everybody. I'll be doing a joint presentation. I've got Arbs and Royce as well, who are in our Philippines office. So big shout out to them. It's 5 a.m. where they are. So a very big thank you for getting up nice and early after a couple of late nights. So thank you. So I'll get into the presentation. Share my screen here. Alrighty. Everyone see it? All good?
Looks awesome.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
All right, that's it. Done.
Kumusta, guys. Thank you to the Philippines crew for an early morning start.
All right, so today we're talking about Insites. What I want to go through today is, what is this thing? Where can I find some more information about the documentation? Royce will be doing a demonstration on our CLI tool. I'll be talking through the admin interface. I'll give you an understanding of our roadmap, the costs, how to contact our support, and then open it up for questions at the end. So what is Insites? You guys may have seen a couple of presentations that I've done throughout the last couple of months. So I just wanted to deep dive into it a little bit further and allow you to understand what we're trying to achieve and how that is a benefit to yourself. So I've termed this as an ecosystem that sits on top of PlatformOS because it's more than a single product. It's actually going to be a full suite of products that aim to help both the development team, but also the administration team. And we'd also like to invite other developers to help join in to be able to create and extend the Insights offering. So it comprises of the admin user interface, which we'll go through today. So I mentioned the CLI tool, which is there to help developers push their code into an instance, as well as the repository. Our code pipeline. So we've worked extensively building a code pipeline using AWS, and it's a little bit difficult to just sell as an off-the-shelf product, but we would like to have conversations with people through a partnership program where we can help you set up your dev environment and run a whole bunch of automation when you're pushing your code to an instance. So that might be a separate conversation and perhaps a town hall meeting where we can actually show you what we've been building and how that can benefit your development environment. Our mobile app, we did release this for the BC community quite late, just before the end of life. So we're now refactoring that and connecting that up to PlatformOS to be able to control your website along with some marketing services like our call tracking and live chat and management of the site via the mobile app. We've got our modules. So I'll talk a little bit about that further, about how Insights is actually made up, because it is a series of modules that are pieced together based on your requirements. So we will be making a large range of them. And as mentioned, we would like to invite others to be able to create them as well. So here's a graphical diagram. I've shown this a few times, so I thought I'd throw it in again to help visualize what it is that we're building. PlatformOS sits down here in this bottom green box, which is the actual instance and where the website is hosted and where the website users will be viewing. In the blue box is what we're developing. So we have our admin, which is just here, which is basically your user interface to be able to control that website. Now that will be done via the admin users of the company as well as the agency to set up and manage that. So you could customize that interface depending on who is actually logging in based on permission control. You may even have a separate admin interface for yourselves as an agency and then a different one for your customers. You can have as many different interfaces as you like, built on the Insights framework, which is really modular. Here we've got the modules. So we have the purchased ones, and then you can also create custom ones. So if you would like to create your own interface for a particular piece of functionality, you can do that. You can sell that into the PlatformOS marketplace as a module, or you can just keep that specific to that client. It's up to you. Our CLI tool, which Royce will give us a demo of and how that works. And this red line is our code pipeline. So this is where we do a lot of, yep.
What does CLI mean and what's a code pipeline?
Okay, good question. CLI stands for command line interface. So some of you may have used the marketplace kit system to be able to set up your local environment and then push your code to the instance, the PlatformOS instance. We've taken that concept and enhanced it. And we'll go through what that actually means and how we've done that in the demo. But basically, it is a tool for you, for your developers to be able to manage the environment, your code, and deploying that to the instance.
So is it like SFTP, but so much more with version control and like this automated QA system that happens to check on regressions of code before it goes to production and does all of that?
Sure is, yep.
Awesome.
So it also has conflict resolution. So if you have multiple developers working on the same website, it will detect that two people are trying to update the one file, and it will warn you and give you some options on whether you wish to merge or reject, so that we don't run into issues like we did with BC, where people will just accidentally override someone else's code based on who was the last person to push update. So there's a lot of advancements, as well as the automation processes that happen when you push your code to ensure that you're delivering clean, quality code. So it is FTP on steroids, and it is going to make your life so much easier and ensure that the devs are doing the right thing. We all know sometimes we get a little bit lazy, so we need to have a bit of a check and balance in place to ensure that we're following the correct and best practice coding standards that will set us up for a website that will be maintainable over the long term. And then the code pipeline, it's an optional piece of technology. So you can just use the CLI tool to push your code to your repo as well as to PlatformOS. However, we've built the code pipeline to run a range of different automation processes. So it can do things like advanced linting. Linting is where you check your code to ensure that it meets certain criteria. You can also bundle up certain things. You can automatically compress files. You can check that dependencies are there. Like, it actually is totally unlimited about what you can do through your code pipeline. Some samples of what we're doing are sending a message to Slack to say, yes, this person pushed this code and it passed all of the checks. or know, hey, this particular test failed, and it will then send an email to the manager or the developer to say, hey, this particular thing failed, you need to go back and do it. So you can allow it to force push the code and just give you warnings, or you can actually make it reject it and have a manual approval to come in and allow that code to be pushed to the repo. And then moving on, we have our mobile app. We've built a range of plugins for email to integrate with our CRM. So we are trying to bring back a proper CRM, which has the relationship part of the CRM, Customer Relationship Manager. I truly believe that a CRM shouldn't just be a list of contacts. It should be a place where you can find all the information in relation to a person or a company, whether you're a B2B or a B2C. So we've built an activity module to be able to log all of your phone calls, your meetings, your emails, files, what have you. And we want to ensure that you could push those directly from your email into the system without having to copy and paste. And then we're using an API gateway, AWS API gateway, to then push that into PlatformOS. We've also got a plan to create what we're calling our activity feed, where you're able to, we'll have a schema, which is basically a set of standard fields to push in data from anywhere. So you will be able to track people that you have sent emails to, SMSs, marketing campaigns. We use Autopilot. We're going to pull that information in. We have a call tracking service. We're going to push that. We're going to live chat. So we'll have a standard set of schema that you basically can say, whatever the person is doing on your website, you identify that via an ID or an email address. And now you have a stream of information about that person. It could be that they've watched a video or that they've filled out a form. So you now have a real central place to understand what the relationship you do have with that person, whether it is a client of yours or it is a user of the website. So I'll talk about that in some future ones, but we've got some really big plans in the way that we visualize and see the communication with people. Documentation. Where do you find out about this stuff? So we've been working really, really hard on our documentation. It's one of the things that always gets left to last, but we're playing a real big effort onto that, and you can find it at docs.insites.io. So I'll just jump in there now so I can show you. So we're using a tool called Stoplight. It has a range of different features. And I recommend it for development because it does mock-up servers and things. But we have a rough of information in relation to our admin and setting up the admin, our command line interface tool. We've got links to our style guides over here. We've got all of our linting rules that we're using within the CLI tool, a link to our support, and then to our website. So after you install it, this is what you'll get on your PlatformOS instance. So you can sign in, you have your basic dashboard. You'll be able to add admin users. So if you add an admin user and create their details, it'll actually send them an email to create a password and invite them into the admin. You see them here. We have our CRM, which is here, fully integrated into PlatformOS. Set up for both a B2B and a B2C. So we've got our company here, we've got our contacts here. We have cases, which is the, similar to BC with the web form submissions. We have our different statuses. We can view these.
Hey, Shane.
Yeah.
Is your CRM using your external resources too?
No, 100% PlatformOS.
Awesome.
There's nothing external about this.
Awesome.
Statuses. And I'll just jump into our settings over here. So we're trying to make it as flexible as possible. We're going to be providing some data that will be populated in here that will give you a GraphQL mutation script that you can just inject while we're waiting on PlatformOS to create us an API endpoint where we can just push it. And basically you can then start to customize this at any way you want. And here you can plug in your Google Maps API key, which is used for the CRM. You notice on my map that one has no address. I think I have one on here. So with the Google Maps API change, you need an API key, otherwise you won't be able to render, and you've got your functionality. So feel free to install this. We're probably 2 days behind where we wanted to be, so there is still a few couple of bugs and some optimizations that we are working with the PlatformOS team to get done. Feel free to download it now. However, we'll release a further update next week. So you now have an admin that you can install into your PlatformOS instance completely free of charge and customize what you will.
That's brilliant. Brilliant, guys.
All right, roadmap. Where are we going? So we'll release the public roadmap very shortly. We're just trying to finalize some timelines and resources internally. We're also working with the PlatformOS team to utilize modules. So the installation we want to make easier. So we're actually looking to utilize the modules feature to install the admin as a free module. And then from there, there'll be additional free and paid modules. So we're thinking to go down the line that the whole Insights ecosystem will be a bunch of modules. So you don't necessarily need to get into the technical side. You can install it via a module. We also welcome partnerships with other development firms to be able to add additional modules onto Insights, and you can make your own commission and structure around those as well. We also, if you'd like to commission us to create a certain module for you for a specific need that you have, we can offer that as well. And everything that we built for BC over the last 6 years will be coming to PlatformOS as modules, as well as much, much more.
Awesome.
All right. What's it going to cost? So the basic admin is free. We're offering that free of charge, open source. You could use that to start any type of project that you would like. We've also open sourced all of our design system as fully being coded as well, so you can use that any which way you wish.
I don't understand, Shane. I don't understand. What do you mean it's free? Like it's free as in freedom? Like free as in, was it beer? Is that how they do it?
Yeah, you can buy me a beer. I'll have a beer. Look, we're committed to this, and we're committed to PlatformOS. So we want to give away something to the community and help people get started, because that was our biggest issue. Is where do we start? What do we do? How do we get people, invited to a graphical interface? It's the one big challenge when coming to a system like PlatformOS that we tried to solve. So from there, that will be our base, and then we'll be charging for the additional modules on top. So we plan to release heaps of them, and we want to make it a bit like a jigsaw puzzle where you just pull the pieces that you want. So this module might be $5 a month, this one might be $15, this one might be $20, depending on what the functionality is and how much it takes to build it. But we have a basic building block that anybody can use, and then anybody else can develop on top of it as well. And module requests are welcome.
Shane, are you eventually going to be building like an automated CRM kind of thing like Active Campaign? I know that you were recommending something a little bit different to try out not that long ago. So are you going down the line of integrating? Yeah, I think it was autopilot.
Yeah, we will definitely. So we don't know how far we'll go with the marketing automation, because you can't, once you start, where do you stop? We'll definitely be doing email marketing and SMS marketing within the platform, as well as other services like call tracking and live chat and stuff. So it'll definitely be in there for email and SMS through the Twilio and SendGrid APIs. And then we'll also be sucking back the data from both of those to put it into a dashboard so you can see the results of your campaigns as well.
Okay,
just not sure about the marketing automation stuff.
The degree of it. Well, I'm just wondering, because I saw Adam say something about the business automation processes, and it almost sounds like using that together with some native email marketing automation that you can do, that could do some significant automations that you just customize no matter what.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. So if you use the PlatformOS notification system, you've got your APIs, your emails, your SMSs, and I'm sure there's more to come. What we plan to do is to create a log of those so that you can actually see when you've made those pushes. So whether you use our system for a user interface to be able to create your campaign and send it, or you're doing it all via code, you'll still be able to suck back those results via API into a dashboard to show your customers. Logging is really at the heart of what we're doing, and creating a visual design to be able to show what's going on behind the scenes. So we do a lot of stuff via code, but we need admin and support and business owners to be able to see that.
Cool. That's exactly what I was asking. So that's wonderful.
Okay. So we're really trying hard to work on the documentation. It takes a lot of effort, but we've done a really, really good job. So have a look through there, and if not, can't find it, send us an email. We'll create a ticket and we'll get back to you. So I'm going to rush through that last bit, but we're really proud of what we've been able to achieve. There's a lot more updates that are coming, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Who's got some questions you can throw up into the chat, or just yell?
Here's one from Home. Somebody is named Home. I was, community manager a little bit ago. But Home asks, is this ready for something similar to web apps, forums, shopping cart, and secure zones, or will that stuff come later? Oh, it's DJ.
All of those will be modules that will be put onto the base. So the effort has been around getting the basic foundation set up properly. So the CLI tool and now the admin, now that we have this, we just keep tacking on module after module after module. So they will all come. Secure zones, there'll be a database structure UI. There'll be, the next thing we're doing is pages and templates. So they're all coming. But if you want, you can build it. You can use this as your starting point as well, and you can run your own race.
And just to clarify on that functionality around shopping carts, secure zones, etc., is there. But to Shane's point, you need to get on top and get into the code. What CBO has done with the framework is made it just a no-brainer from the fact that all of the CLI tool, the command line interface tools have been consolidated and made so much simpler. They've also done that with the admin. So it's a fantastic framework to start from, because we haven't built an admin. It's like they're building BC on top of PlatformOS. And the way we've approached modules that keeps getting brought up is that it's a consistent framework that any BC partner can then contribute to. And Shane mentioned, hey, you could create your own modules, and maybe you only allow those modules to be used within sites that you're building on PlatformOS. And you may be using Insites as the base and then building your own modules. Or you could commission them to build modules for you. Or you buy or subscribe to additional module functionality, and they will then be available in your dashboard to go click, choose the site you want them on, and deploy. The great thing is too with what the CBO team have done, and honestly behind the scenes, the amount of hours that's gone into this is phenomenal. I can tell you now, it's huge. A lot of thinking, and I know it looks all kind of scary when you see a black screen with green writing on it, and it's like, oh no, what have I got to learn now? But honestly, it's kind of like FTP. Back in the day, we had to go at the command line, FTP space, this folder to that URL, and it would just go up there. All this is a very similar concept, except there's a few other little variable flags that you can put in, which then, instead of just pushing files up, can run some tests, can push it to a version control repository, and then give feedback on whether or not it had a collision, as Shane mentioned earlier, or it's had a conflict with some other code that's there, and ensures that your workflow for working with clients doesn't break. But honestly, it's phenomenal. And what will happen is more and more user interfaces will get built over the top, and it'll be more and more simplified, so that you won't even need to be a techie propeller head that loves this stuff like we do. You can be more focused on the marketing and the business end of things, knowing that you've got best practice, enterprise grade, fully flexible back end that's powering it all up. Enough of me selling.
Hey, and on the CLI tool, I've got to say it this way. If you were to try and do the things that he's doing through the CLI tool, through the command line, like you're just going to go do those things, it'll be a whole lot more work than you would be just to learn how to use the tool. So there's no way that it's not going to save you time, whether you are techie or not.
Hey guys, I'd like to ask a question if you don't mind. This is RT. Been working with Adam on PlatformOS and managing the clients. And one thing that I'm not clear about is if this administrative tool is actually helping us to manage the channel, the environment within channel partner, as a channel partner and installing other clients' administrative environments, or is this just for managing the administrative environments for client accounts? So if the second is the case, then what are we using to manage, what tools should be used to manage the overall channel partner account? Does that make sense?
I'm not sure I fully understand the question.
Are you talking about the partner portal then, Martin?
Yeah, I'm talking about partner portal and I'm not sure if I can explain this. I can see this here. I have customers, I have administrative panel, I have CRM and all these things. I'm looking at one single client account that I'm managing, or the client is managing. What about the place where I manage all the clients' account that I own? Like, you know, you have and whatever I can do with them.
And that is your partner portal,
right?
And to give a quick answer to that, we're building a partner portal and billing component. Great feedback from partners on that, so that you can also set the pricing that you want to invoice the end customer with, and look at overages. You know, how many emails have they sent? How many SMSs? How many bits of data? Long-running queries, everything, and that's in your partner portal. We've made that API first because CBO and other partners might want to build their own partner portal over the top and say, hey, you know, this is our partner portal. It uses the PlatformOS APIs. So deploying a site is linked to PlatformOS, of course, but they might have some other agency-specific work that they do that they want to fold into a partner portal dashboard that they're providing, like how many hours they spent on building a module for you. Well, that's not necessarily something that needs to be built through or use our partner portal for. That's something that might be specific to CBO's partner portal. But I know what you mean. Yeah, how do I see all of my client sites? What is the revenues that they're bringing me in, and what's their usage stats? So that's the partner portal for sure.
That's correct. And also, when installing this administrative environment, are we doing it per client installation? Are we doing one installation and then duplicating it for every client? How does that work?
Per instance.
Yes.
Per instance.
Per
So
instance.
this is customizable per instance. You can have the one project, say, and every dev, staging, and production can all have a different variant of the admin. So we do plan to have like and this is where I would like to give feedback to the PlatformOS team, is that I want to manage this through the partner portal, through the modules, so that we can leverage the modules features to be able to do bulk updates across multiple sites, while also still having the individualization on a particular instance. So, for example, we build out the secure zone module. I want to install that on these 50 sites, right? And I want to click bang, push, right? And if there's an update, update all 50 sites. Or this particular client, they have a booking system and only want to install it there, and then want to make some tweaks. So we want to have the advantages of bulk updating, management, installation, as well as the single environment instance customization.
And the
model that we've chosen to go down is probably a little different to some other partners, where we sit directly on your instance. So you have your PlatformOS account, and what we're doing is we sit on top of that. You are a PlatformOS partner, and you manage your whole partner portal yourself, and you install this on your particular instances. And the PlatformOS modules will just make it easier to manage these, because once you start to get a few different modules and you start to build up the amount of sites you have, we want to have that automation process to be able to manage them quickly and easily at bulk.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, being able to push is fantastic and needs to happen. The other side is, well, what happens if I've customized some of the liquid views, if some of those modules are in public folders? So the idea of the modules is that, okay, we can have a learning management system module, we can have a CRM module, we could have a ad rotator module, a autopilot module, constant contact interface module, SendGrid, whatever it is. Some of that code may be private in that it sits on the instance, but it can't be modified. And in that case, being able to push and ensure that things don't break is pretty much mostly guaranteed it's going to be okay. In the case where some of the modules may allow you to make front-end changes to a liquid view, or even tweak some of the graph queries if you wanted to, then pushing an update may break some of that. So we need to be able to allow for the bulk pushing, but where there's a version change or a file change, okay, we can't just automatically push that, notify the partner or the owner of the site to say, hey, there is a new version, you might just want to check that. So we're looking at how we can automate doing diffs or differences and comparisons, so that it then is easy to go, oh, this update is going to cause some of my custom tags to adjust, and I need to just tweak a few JavaScript things, or I need to change a liquid variable. So they're the things that we're just thinking through to solve as well in that bulk push.
So the way we build our modules will have an abstraction between the functionality, the UI, and the data. So everything will be customizable. So we never hard code things. Everything is dynamic, and the data is stored on your instance, but the UI and functionality is the brains of it, which is the way that it's created, and having that in mind, because we've seen what we've built over the last few years in the BC App Store, that we constantly push updates, and we need to push an update to either fix a bug or to create more functionality without erasing all of your data that you've already set up. So we really separate the two to ensure that it's easy to update without having that binding thing that will break things.
Thank you very much, guys, for explaining this.
Yes, this recording, there is a recording of this. I think we're still recording. Yeah, we are. Any other questions? I'm assuming everyone's blown away. They just don't know what to ask.
Well, I definitely know that the propeller heads in the room are like drooling, going, "Wow, we know what effort's gone into that." And
I came with a bib.
Yeah, I've seen Adam's changed his shirt 3 times. And for those who are non-technical are going, well, everybody else is excited, so it must be good. But can it help solve my business problems? And I think that's where we started to see at the end, the admin, the fact that modules are going to make it push button easy to be able to implement really cool functionality without needing to know about all that back end crazy stuff. So we're going to have the best of both worlds. We want to join the technically detailed and best practice, cutting edge, the way things should be on one side, but also the full creative stuff. Roadmap for modules. There's modules all over the place coming out everywhere. Adam, what were you going to say?
Is that for, Bob, is that for ours or for PlatformOS's side?
Yours.
Ours, okay. So the next, so we just probably got 2 more days to finish off this and to tweak a few of the graph queries to ensure that they're optimized. And then we're moving on to pages, templates, partials, so the content side of a website. So that's the next milestone. So we're going to be able to link in with GitHub as well as AWS's code commit as well. So that's the next milestone. I'm tempted to show you guys. I don't know if I've got that.
Do it, mate. Come on. Let's under promise and over deliver.
Let's have a look. This one. Okay. All right. So pricing hasn't been sorted yet, so just ignore that. But this is our milestone. So we're currently in milestone 2, is what we're doing, calling this internally. Chases contacts of companies, and also the CLI tool, our pipeline, and our Slack integration as part of that. System fields and API keys. So the next milestone is lock screen, repos. So you need to be able to store your repo credentials somewhere. Logging of API calls, configuring the admin to be brandable to your own agency, so you can change the images and the color scheme and what have you. Localization, so when you pull data, it's normally on a server time, so you want to configure that based on the local time that you're viewing it with. Actually, so that's milestone 3 actually. Milestone 4 is the next one. So this is adding the pages, the templates, content blocks, graph query editor, global content. So that's, you know, your business name, phone number. Have an app so that you can just put that in there. Then you use liquid variables throughout your site. That way you can update one screen rather than having to find where it's hard coded throughout the site. And blogs. Then we're going to move into the file manager. So looking at uploading stuff onto S3. 6, our dashboard. So this way, when you first log in, similar. I really liked BC's dashboard. I think it was really good to see live feed, what's going on, who's doing what, who's logging in where, what forms are being submitted, show some activity. That's this milestone. Then we're going to have a graphical interface for the databases, so you'll be able to create I think the customizations now, and so there'll be a list view of those and then a detailed view as well. Site map with some SEO stuff, workflows, menu builders, form builders, roles and permissions so that you can start to hide certain things based on who's logged in, and then onto e-commerce. So there's been a lot of work up front. So we really do believe that we'll be able to roll out a lot of this very, very quickly, because the amount of foundation effort is astronomical to get to this position. And then now we just create modules. So we can divvy that up throughout our team, along with anyone who wants to put their hand up in the community to help out and create other modules as well. So we want to play with everybody. It's about building something that is easily shareable, and that this is the common framework to do that. And we've gone away from having plans. I think, I may as well just hide this or delete this, because we want to actually base this on the module pricing model. So you're only really paying for what you need.
Would that still possibly be per month on a module, or would they be like a one-off for that site? What are you thinking?
Probably on a recurring, because it might get, I don't know about that one. It's a smaller to do cash flow for people and to charge to their clients on a monthly basis than have to pay up front. But we'll ask, and we'll sort of experiment and see what people want to do.
Oh, there comes the Australian dollar question that has to come in.
So, I mean, this is a really good thing to ask, because I don't want to build the billing module, right? I want to really utilize the PlatformOS module feature to run this. So, Adam, we're
well, thank
obviously
you.
we're doing multi-currency, right?
Yeah, we are, and on that side of things, we are working with Citibank for their international payments service, and we are going to have pricing that Australia, US, Canada, New Zealand, Euro, and British pound, and we're just working with them, negotiating how that's going to be set up. But that is what we're going to be doing, and sites will be charged based on the region that the site is deployed on. So that's how we'll approach it. Sites in Australia, Aussie dollar. Sites in the US, US dollars. Sites on, so wherever you're building a site and deploying, you might be doing a deploy on the US servers. It will be then charged in US dollars. We don't want to end up in this sort of arbitrage, foreign exchange kind of 0.1 cent difference here and there happening everywhere. Plus, we want that account to then be paying the AWS server fees in that local currency too. That way, it seems to be the fairest approach.
David, to answer your question, timing, really hard thing, because I know that I want it yesterday. So we're trying to get as much done as we can. 3 to 6 months is probably realistic. It's really, we're going to throw as many people as we can at this, and so we're trying to keep the milestone short so that we can release weekly or fortnightly. So we don't want to keep these massively, you got to wait 6 weeks. We want to be able to just bang, 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 to start releasing stuff. So as we also learning how to work with PlatformOS, the way that the modules will create, like we've designed all of this from scratch. So it's really taken a while to really conceptualize this and figure out how we're going to move forward. As I said, I think that we're going to accelerate what we've been able to achieve now that we have this foundation in place. And the other reason is that we want to focus on these modules while PlatformOS and their team focus on building the modules, while they're focused on the infrastructure around those modules. Luke,
Hey,
can I
Luke,
just
yeah, he was
clarify?
saying he's. Oh,
There will be
sorry.
plans. So we've gone away from the plans because of the way that the architecture is going to be built. We think that it's going to be easier to utilize the module infrastructure rather than trying to create our own plans and billing and what have you. I think that would be the wrong move. So we plan to price per module. So I want to, like, my goal is to create modules as a market into the marketplace and release them to utilize on the Insights ecosystem framework. So the pricing will be depending on the functionality. So yeah, Ursula would be like the BC App Store. So the custom fields would be a module. Yeah, potentially. I mean, so some of it we're giving away for free, obviously, as part of what we've shown today in the admin. The custom fields for the CRM will be a paid module. So we're basically trying to give away a base admin that has users, a CRM, and cases for free, right? So you get all of that for free, and then you can use that for really, really simple sites. You don't need to do anything. Then as we advance the CRM and have the activity feed and create custom fields, and you can start to integrate it, then there would be a monthly charge for that. When you compare the module types and what we are used to in the web commerce plan and a price that was paid monthly, what do you think a comparable price would be for the same type of capabilities? I don't know if there's a direct comparison because it depends on which particular features. Because I think in BC there was a lot of stuff that no one used, and it was so out of date that you probably couldn't use it anyway. So it was while the features were there, they weren't really usable. So we want to create and focus energy on individual modules to be able to advance them. So you kind of pick and choose. There's no doubt that BC was underpriced and super cheap in the market for what you actually got. So that we do, as a community, need to expect to pay more than what we were used to paying. Will modules update automatically, or will there be manual work involved? Will modules lead to possibly more downtime? So this is one of my requests, is to be able to have the option to force an update. I don't want to go into the WordPress plugin type model where it's up to the developer to go and update stuff like that. I personally don't want to do that. If I release an update, I want to push it to all of my 100 sites. First of all, I don't want to do each one, but I also don't necessarily think that while we push an update, whether other people should have to go and accept that. So we need to look at what are the permissions and will you allow us to update a module that you've purchased in your site or not. So my vote is for yes, or there's some sort of toggle that you can allow automatic updates or you can turn it off. And if you turn it off, then that's fine. But you need to then go in and do that manual approval. Or if you leave it on, we will be doing the updates as soon as we release a new version. And I'd also like the opportunity to have a changelog and then email that to you to let you know, hey, we've updated this particular module. Here's all the changes and improvements that we've made, bug fixes, and it's already been done, but here's an FYI. Major version pricing for mod. Yeah, that's a good point, Mr. Cook. that you may have a product or a module that you develop and it's version 1, and you've now come out with version 2, which you've spent a lot of time on, and you actually want to recharge for that because there's that amount of effort put into it. One example of that we had in BC was our social media feed. It was really, really popular. And then Facebook changed the API for Facebook and Instagram. And it was really, really expensive for us if we were going to change it because of this was after the Cambridge Analytica issue, and you couldn't access stuff publicly anymore. So you needed to create an API key, and it just wasn't viable financially for us to go in and update that. But if we had that opportunity to say, look, this particular one will die at some point, but here's version 2 and you need to pay for that upgrade. That would have been something that we would have gone for. So I really like that idea. The version control of modules, Mr. Broadway.
I'm on mute, of course. Version control modules, was that the?
Yeah, of course, we're listening intently. It was about how do we release a new version. We would like the ability to release a new version of a module. So
yes, versioning, of course, module versioning. Yeah, I had a private chat
charge
going
for that
on.
next version.
So we're namespacing every module, and every namespace will have versioning. So the ability to go from from a minor to a major version, is that the context there? Yeah, that's something we're working through, but we've already got the concept of module namespace so that you cannot have a conflict with somebody else's modules. Obviously, you can have the same functionality, but what that module's called that's it, like a domain name. It can't be duplicated. And then we definitely will have a versioning approach to that. How it's going to be deployed, I'll need some of the brains from my engineering team to specifically answer that. Out of my pay grade, because I don't get paid.
But, yeah, guys, try this out. As I said, the admin's still a little bit buggy, so there's a little disclaimer. We ran out of time, but we wanted to present this today. And I said, we're still trying to optimize this, but you know, if you want to have a play, go for it. It's there. All the information's available. You can also, if you want to just download the Insights admin, you can run the Insights admin --get command, which will download the latest version.
There was a question on here about whether or not a person could use GitLab or something like that, and just mentioning, I just wanted to bring that up, that GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket, all they are just tools to use Git. And that's all the CLI is as well. It's just a tool, and it's going to grab it from whatever repo, wherever that's stored. And if it's stored on GitLab or GitHub or whatever they're using, it makes no difference to the CLI tool.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah. So basically, the goal of the tool is to not be tightly coupled with anything. So basically, the way we planned it, we made sure that if you want to use certain tools to complement something, those building blocks can easily work together. So basically, GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket, etc., those are the repositories. So basically, the goal here, so actually that's a nice question. It allows us to discuss some things actually in detail, but to cut it short, we're making sure that some parts of the process are really detailed. We parse that in detail because we want it to be integrated with anything you want to integrate. So let's say that we don't want to use this certain part because I have some way of doing work. So we just merge with that custom process. because we do not want it to intervene with what people are accustomed to using. Basically, part of the goal is to make it easy to use, and also like let's say we have integration with GitLab. As long as you have some sort of the common standard stuff, we just rely on that and you update this file. We basically do not enforce certain things if it's not necessary. So for your question, basically we already had, like, for example, for the pipeline, we had to like add GitHub support, but we realized that that part is fairly standard for all the things that are like integrated to it. So adding it would just like be like making it more like formal. So your question, yes. And for other questions similar to that, the answer would be the same. We do not want to be like strict and not have a lot of people enjoy the benefits. So for GitLab, Bitbucket, some things are not really apples to apples comparison. Basically there are features which can be used there, but on our side we have to make sure that it's able to like contribute and merge with existing set of tools. Some tools may intersect in terms of feature, and the goal of a good tool is to be able to work with other tools properly, because the focus and the context of the tools that you mentioned are actually sometimes good in one aspect, sometimes bad in other aspects, and the goal is for the tools to help each other. So you will see developers and other people using different tools, and basically part of the planning and basically the purpose of the tool, the CLI tool, and even the admin, is to be able to act as building blocks, so that if you want to like use other tools with them, it would be very easy. On our end, if you try to use the tools together, you'll have less like convenience problems. So basically, since we built the CLI, we built the admin, we built the style guide, a lot of those things are like easily integratable. So you don't have to worry about them. But if you have some sort of like other tools you want to merge with our tool, by default the plans are based on global standards, so that you don't have to worry about like being like locked in. Basically, locked in is a problem. So the goal is to make sure that people have some sort of flexibility and power on what they want to do, because we also do not want to take the freedom out of them. So yeah, basically that's the summary of like being able to support that, because we don't want people to be, oh, let's use AWS Code Commit, oh, we want to use Bitbucket. No, use whatever you want, use what's best on what we offer, and basically that solves all our problems. So let us know if I was able to solve your question.
I think so. So if people haven't seen this before, these are the building blocks that you're able to use. So they're fully coded up and responsive, cross-browser tested. So you don't need to build this stuff. You just copy our code, plug it in to PlatformOS data, wire it in, and away you go.
And by don't have to worry about that code, all that code that you just saw on Shane's screen, don't even worry about that code. So it's all just, that's the under the bonnet stuff. So the admin's there. If you wanted to get access at it and play around, you could, because it's all open. But for those who don't want to touch the code, you don't need to.
All right. Did we have any more questions?
What's the CLI tool again?
I can't remember.
Just kidding.
Another hour?
Okay. Yeah.
No, that was awesome. Guys, absolutely round of applause, seriously. I know my team are cheering. I know a couple of my guys stayed up till, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning or beyond, and keeping eyes out and checking things. They might have dropped off now that all the techie bits have gone. They get bored unless they're looking at slashes and indentations and dot curly brackets. So they're already slacked me to say thumbs up, and very excited. Well done to you guys. And obviously the user interface and user experience is very elegant and beautiful as always as well. So incredible job. We will be ensuring that we continue to collaborate with you and every other PlatformOS partner to make sure that we build this ecosystem. I'm very excited about the modules approach. I think pretty much everyone's sort of like bought into how the architecture works for that. And now it's just a matter of deploying and seeing how it works and refining it. But brilliant job, guys.
Thanks.
Winner.
A big shout out to Michael and Nico, the guys working on the front end, who couldn't make it at such an early time today. And Royce for putting together the CLI tool. Very well done. And thanks again for getting up about 4 o'clock in the morning to get to work. Thank you so much. And to everyone else in my team, you know, really, really great job. We hope the community enjoys it. We really do want feedback. So hit me up on Slack, shoot us an email, got any questions, or thank yous. I'm sure the team will love that. So just enjoy and let us know how you go.
Ooh, can I take us out? I haven't taken us out yet. Let's see. Goodbye.